All right. Well, that was the best intro and the worst intro. I got to figure out how to fade that out. But hello, welcome to the Producer Joe Show. Today we have Bob Buchmann, formerly of KGB. For those of you in San Diego, you remember Bob. If you're wondering how I know Bob, I had a short stint in radio myself. I got to know a lot of really, really great people then. And then years later, I was a media writer for San Diego and just met some really cool people. And Bob is definitely one of them. So, as they say, without further ado, here is Bob.
Hey,
Bob.
Joe, how are you, man?
Doing good, buddy. Thank you for joining me.
Good to see you.
Kind of starting out my podcast here, so it's going to be a little green. I've only had a few episodes under my belt.
I was all excited with that fancy intro with the graphics, and then it just died. What's going on with that?
I know. I got to figure out how to fade that out. It's next on my checklist. But I'm really happy with like 98% of it, so that's good.
Yes, it looked good. It looked good while it was up.
Well, anyways, thanks for coming on my podcast. It means a lot to me that you did set aside time. You're in New York. I mean, nonetheless, it's 7:00 there. So by my advanced math.
Yeah, it's nice being back. But I will say you know what, home is home, but and it's nice to be back in New York, of course. But home for me really is San Diego these days. So I'm pretty excited to be where I normally am.
I've heard a lot of my radio friends say, we've reached San Diego. Even if we are not going to be on the air anymore, we'll work at a restaurant. We want to stay here. Bob, I have I have a surprise for you.
Oh, you do?
I hope you like this, but I'm going to bring in the studio right now, and this is a bit of a reunion.
Wow.
It's the Bob Cohen Show.
It's even better because today is her birthday.
Oh my God.
It is.
And she is this, as you know, Joe, the sweetest human being in America.
Oh, thank you.
You're absolutely right.
Oh, thank you.
Happy
I
birthday,
need to come
Coe.
on this show more.
You have always have a invite.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. Joe and I plotted and planned, and he reached out to me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so there. And then just hearing your opening remark about the sign-in of the show with your smart-ass remark.
What's going on?
It made me feel like we were back on the radio together. Oh my God. I never had more fun in my life than with working with Bob. Never in my entire life.
Well, I was putting the show together and I'm thinking, boy, wouldn't this be fun? And look at that. Look at you two.
Nah.
We had some fun. I was just telling my brother, whose house I'm staying at tonight. I'll tell you why I'm here in a moment, but moving to a hotel after this for a while, a couple days. But I'm with my brother right now, and I was telling him, the 7 years I spent with Coe were some of the most fun years ever for me in the radio business. So, literally that conversation just happened earlier today.
Oh, the feeling's so mutual. Joe, when we first met, I guess they were technically auditioning morning show hosts to join me. And I just remember the second we met, we clicked. There was just some kind of crazy energy between us. And the thing that really just solidified it was, he said, the listeners come first. And that was always my motto. And I looked at him like, oh my God, it's like we're kindred spirits. And we were off to the races after that.
That's true.
It was the best time those years. I miss them, but they were wonderful. And I'm so glad I got to have them with you. Wouldn't have wanted to do it with anyone else.
It's almost like that, better to have loved it all than never at all. You guys had that experience and you guys were so good together.
Oh,
thank you, Joe. Very nice.
You look like you're in a cave, Booby. Where are you?
I'm in Farmingdale, Long Island, which is my brother's house. And
nice.
It's cool. I have the lights down dim. Of course, I have wine.
What?
And
Alcohol's
I will also
involved?
say this, just to caution you both. The bottle
Uh-oh.
is empty.
Oh no! Oh my God!
But
All
no, I
right,
had
Cole,
my
let's
brother.
ask him anything.
My brother was also in the bottle, so it's okay. It's not just me. It's fine.
Good.
I'm good.
Good.
I'm not slurring. I'm fine.
It's all good.
Well, good. Right on. I'm so happy you're here, Coe. You're welcome to stick around as long as you want. If you need to jump out, just let me know. If not, I'm just going to jump right into my questions here.
Go ahead.
Put
him on the
Coe,
hot seat.
Coe,
I
if you
wanna
have
see him
anything to
squirm.
interject with, if you know of anything that you remember learning, interject, jump in there.
Okay.
Let's have a fun conversation.
The last time I was in the hot seat, I was sitting on Coe's lap.
Oh, dang.
He's already on. He's already rolling. Oh,
There's
my
that
God.
wine.
No, it's not the wine. Trust me.
Bob, early in the 70s, early on in the 70s, you founded a community radio station as well as a pirate radio station in your family home basement. Is that right?
That's correct.
Talk to
And
me about that.
I will tell you, Joe, that was a dream because to make a long story very short, we had a guy running a community radio station that was licensed, and basically he decided at the end that the kids, once the license was granted by the FCC, the kids were not really going to be a part of it. So I was, took my lunchbox and went home and, built a studio in my parents' basement, and we turned on a 100 watt, which sounds small, but it's like 50,000 times the power of an unlicensed station. So we turned on a 100 watt AM radio station from my parents' basement, and we stayed on the air for 3 months until the FCC knocked on my mother's door and told her the truth that her son's radio station was not legal at all. It was illegal. And would he come up to accept the handcuffs?
So it's a bit of a Wayne's World story.
But my favorite story of that pirate station is when Bob told me that record labels would show up at his house to pitch records on his pirate station.
That's outstanding.
Really true, Joe. And Coe, you're absolutely right. And believe it or not, just to show you, and you know, Coe, this in your own life, that people you're close to never really go far away from you. So the first woman who ever sent me record service was Atlantic Records. It was a woman named Judy LeBeau. And can you believe at this, literally yesterday, I was talking to that same woman about some artist for SiriusXM. This woman has been with me since I was a teenager in my parents' basement. Wow. And now that I'm at Sirius, she's still with me. It's incredible.
I love that.
That's
but I can see his mom saying, "Would you like a grilled cheese sandwich and something to drink?"
I'm on the air, Mom. Bob, in New York, you were at, I hope I get these right, WRCN, WBAB for quite a while, WAXQ, then off to Los Angeles, where you landed at KLOS, where you spent about 3 years. And you built a team that included Mark and Brian that catapulted the station #1 in arbitrage ratings. Is that right? Is that about right?
That is correct. The 3 years, the 3 years with KLOS were joyous years because I had no experience with a talk morning show. And so Mark and Brian taught me how to do that. And I was able to coach them and bring them back to #1 in Los Angeles. That was a big victory for me because I had no previous experience doing it. And prior to that, it was all New York stuff. For 30 years, almost 30. It was 20 years on Long Island, which is where I am right now. And then the following 10 years in Manhattan.
When I was probably in my 20s or 30s, I was delivering every day to Los Angeles. So I would always have Mark and Brian on.
What were you delivering? Were you delivering drugs?
It sounds more sexy than what I was delivering. I was delivering plants. I was delivering flowers. So.
Okay, that's fine. That's cool, Joe.
Yes,
Never
drugs
mind
it
me.
is.
I'm just here being bad because Coe's on the line. So I'm trying
It's
to
all
do
right. Have some more of that wine. It's all
Some
right.
things never change. Oh my God.
Nope, and they shouldn't.
You know, Joe,
Um,
Coe and I can stop you for just 1 second because I know she
Sure.
agrees with me. It's so great what you have done over, God, it must be a decade or
Yeah.
more of uniting the Southern California and more specifically the San Diego radio community with your radio writing. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, Joe would show up at all our events. He would take
Oh,
photos, he'd talk to us, but he went to all the stations, all their stuff. And you were always such a big friend and supporter. And we didn't even have to wonder if you were going to show up at an event. You would always be there. And that really meant a lot to us because you
Wow.
brought us closer together with other stations, competitors, and all. We got to hang out more.
I don't take compliments very well, but man, coming from you guys, I mean, your radio royalty, as far as I'm concerned, that means so much to me. I mean, you have no idea. I loved it. I loved everything I did. And I remember seeing you, Bob, at the El Cajon Home Depot, and you gave me a Night Ranger CD, and I still have it, and I still listen to it.
I should be shot for that, by the way.
Nah, I love Night Ranger.
No, I
we
do
have a-
too. And they are some of the nicest guys. Mhm.
Oh, I'm sure, and I want to get into that in your friendships here in a little bit. We have a few comments to the show here. Who is this? Amy Am I saying that right? Amy Nelson. Hi, Bob. Hi, Coe. Happy birthday, Coe, from Amy.
Thank you.
And Marty Camery, big supporter of the show. Very happy with the.
Hey, Marty.
Oh, that's a good question. Rollback. If Coe has children, does that make them codependent?
Yeah.
That's good. That's
good. Oh, yeah. Amy wanted to remind you that I'm a 2-time award-winning writer. But
you know, that does not surprise either one of us.
Yeah.
San Diego Press Club. No, that's enough about that. So you ended up going to San Diego. You were paired up with Coe, as she alluded to. You had a tryout of sorts. To be able to be seated next to a legend such as Coe Lewis, what did that mean to you, Bob?
Good question, Joe. Coe is truly, and I know you would agree with me, Joe. You've said it a million times yourself. Coe is really royalty in San Diego. She's part of the woodwork in the best possible way. People grew up listening to her and hearing classic rock for the very first time when it was new, despite the fact that she's so young and frankly, so hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And so she and also that Coe is behind the causes that San Diegans cared about, making San Diego a better place. And
Sure.
You know, I've always said to Coe and about Coe, you know, she's got a free ticket to heaven, hopefully no time soon. But she's on the express train when she's ready.
Oh, thanks.
Is she taking all the animals with her? Because there's only so much room.
It'll be the ark. I'll have my own ark going up there. Except it'll be bigger. It'll be size of a giant cruise ship, a carnival cruise ship of the ark going. So thanks, Bob. Thank you for those kind words. That means a lot to me.
Did I hear, Bob, did you give Coe a Led Zeppelin related gift at one point?
What did I do? I gave, that's right, Joe. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
I gave Coe for her birthday. It could be 6 or 7 years ago. The harmonica, professional harmonica that Robert Plant played. Isn't that right? Is that about right, Coe?
Yes. And what was the first thing I did when I took it out of the box?
You played it yourself so that you could, get some of his
we could
DNA.
swap spit. Me and Rob, the closest we're ever going to get to making out is through that harmonica. Yeah, I can't tell you, Joe, what that meant to me because anybody who's listened to radio in San Diego knows my love of Zeppelin, especially Robert Plant, and that he just sprung that on me was, I think I elevated. I think I was levitating off the floor. I mean, that meant so much to me, and I'll treasure that thing forever. So
yeah,
that will be coming
absolutely.
through.
One thing about Coe and I, when we did a show together, it was all legit. Like she really didn't know that was going to happen live on the air. So that's the way we chose to do the show. It was all real.
Organic.
Yeah,
I get
organic is a good word.
Well,
and Joe,
I don't
also
have
for a behind the scenes look at what we would see every day when Bob would be rolling into the studio. I'm so throwing you under the bus, Bob.
No.
He came with a stack of papers this high. I'm not joking. It
That's
was
true.
I don't think he has any idea what's on the bottom of them, but he had this stack of papers he brought in every day, and it had to be in a certain place. And it was like 5 yellow pages. It was that tall, and he would just come in with this thing. We're like, what the hell is going on? He probably had documents from 1968 in there. I'm pretty sure. Maybe a grant deed for a house or something. I don't know.
I guess so. I guess that's probably true.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I certainly don't have Robert Plant's harmonica, but I do have that beer can that you gifted me. The Styx beer can. Got Styx all over it, Renegade.
When Coe told me you were a big Styx fan, and I had those things, the band sent them to me for Christmas one year, and I was like, one of these has to go to Joe.
Yeah.
I love it. I have it out in my workshop on display. I love it.
Yeah, the one that exploded in my car. But,
The one that exploded in the car, yeah.
Good God. That's the closest she ever got to beer and alcohol.
There's this old, warm beer smell. I'm like, what happened? And I figured out the beer had hit every square inch of the interior of my car because it was in the sun.
Terrible. Oh my God, I hate that.
No.
The first thing I did is I licked it as you did the harmonica. I could be one. Bob, I have a 2-part question. During your time in San Diego, what memory stands out the most for starters with the station? Secondly, the city. What do you love about San Diego? So anything that may have happened on, off the air, and then San Diego.
Well, I like the fact that KGB was the heritage station for rock in San Diego. There are all these upstart stations. San Diego's been a bit of a musical playground. It honestly does not have the heritage of, when I say heritage, I mean the singular heritage, the fact that stations are something and stay that way for 30 or 40 years. New York, you get more history. But in San Diego, there's a little bit of musical chairs. KGB, though, not that way. KGB has always been true to rock, and it still is today. And I admired that the most about KGB. With respect to San Diego, well, there's every stereotype in the world that can't be disputed. The weather, the topography, the fact that you're on the ocean, the little neighborhoods down in the city, and North County where I live. I'll never leave it. Never. I'll never leave North County, San Diego. I think it's incredible place to live. I live in Oceanside, and I consider Oceanside a village, even though it's technically a city. It's a village. It's an ocean village. There's nowhere I'd rather be.
Wow. I like to hear that. I'm glad you're not going anywhere.
Nowhere.
Nope. Won't let him.
So now you're on SiriusXM radio. You're on Classic Rewind, Channel 25. Tell me about that channel and the opportunity to work with MTV original VJs, Mark Goodman, Alan Hunter. Tell me about your roles there, Bob.
So basically, I run the classic rock channels for Sirius, and I do most of the classic rock pop-up channels too. Like I just did the Queen channel, which was a 30-day pop-up. And when we do these channels, we do them with the artists as partners. So that's what's so exciting. Like we're with the artists; they are invested, and that's what makes them so completely unique. We just don't play Queen songs. We have the band tell stories about the music and the albums, the songs, the artwork on the album covers. I mean, everything. And so I'm just on the air as a DJ like 2 hours a week, just to keep my hand in it. And it's fun. It's fun to be. And my phone blows up every time I am, because it's nationwide. It's actually not nationwide. It's Canada and northern Mexico also, plus the Caribbean islands. It's so massive that it's so nice to hear from people, that I haven't spoken to or ever spoken to. But like, I grew up listening to you on the radio in New York, and now I'm in, North Carolina. So that's, I think, the nicest thing about being a DJ on Sirius.
Sure.
You're
I get
where you're
that.
supposed to be, actually, where you are right now.
I got very lucky.
This was
Coe, I
place
always say
to
this.
go.
I've said this a million times. I'll just want to tell Joe, it's so it's not only talent and experience, because those two things will get you nothing if you don't also have luck and timing. And thank God I have luck and timing. Not so sure about the talent, but luck and timing combined with experience, and that has gotten me everywhere. And so the timing was right. KGB ended. Sirius was there the next day, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's a bit like what sports have in common. You got to have a little bit of luck, a little bit of timing to be successful.
100%.
Just like any team would.
Sure.
What you just said kind of segues into a question that was texted into the show. And if anybody does want to text the show, you can text that number. You can text any questions. This is from Marilyn Hyder, who you may remember from your building. She asked, how do channels get determined? Are hosts like Garth Brooks asked to have a channel? Do they get paid? Do they pay to have the channel? How does that work?
That's a fascinating question, actually. And I will start by saying that I don't actually know, but I will tell you what I do know. What I know is that it's different for every artist. What I know is that, from what I know, nobody really gets paid out, although that could be true with some old deals. But in my best guess is what happens is the airplay of that artist increases so much, because 24/7 it's that artist, that their royalty checks go way up. So my guess is that's why they are so invested. Not only do they want themselves to look great and be seen as great in front of 33 million people in North America, and when we light up radios like we're about to do for free this coming Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve, it's 110 million radios, and then everyone will get us. What they get is that exposure, and they also get increased royalty checks, because we pay, I don't know what, I know there's all kinds of controversies about what some of the streaming services pay, but we pay pretty heavily. We are, many artists might say we don't pay enough, but I can tell you that we pay, I'm surprised how much we pay. And I'm thrilled that we are so invested with the artists.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, proof is in the pudding. It's working.
It is working. I will tell you that, it's working. It's really working well.
And Bob, I would have to think that with that format where you've got chapters and different divisions of rock and of different formats of music, radio has changed so dramatically. You and I used to build relationships with artists early on, and we had real relationships, and they were on the radio with us a lot. You're giving these artists a platform, a consistent platform, that you just don't have in radio anymore. I mean, these bonds we started were long ago. And I think because these people get to tell the backstory for any upcoming generation, they don't know the backstory of the band or a particular song or a particular album. And to hear it from, the horse's mouth, per se, is something so unique and so important, because the history of rock, we don't want to lose it. And every chapter that we get away from it, we're losing something in that. So you are a format, a service to bring new generations to the music, and people will gravitate when they know the story or can connect with the band on a deeper sense than just hearing one song on the radio and nothing else. You know what I mean? There's more going, a lot of layers behind it.
There's two reasons that's important. The first reason is that younger people, meaning people who were not sometimes even alive when this music was new, they now love it. It's weird, but 21-year-olds love Jimi Hendrix. Even I'm too young to remember Jimi Hendrix as a current artist, and I'm not young. So that's the beautiful thing. When you hear these artists tell the stories, not only is that great for you and for me, Coe, but it's also great for people who are 21 years old.
100%.
The second thing is, Sirius is very committed to getting a younger audience, because they already have people who are, older, who started with them 20 years ago. But now they're interested in today's 25-year-old, today's 21-year-old, today's 32-year-old. And so they are investing in artist stations for those artists that 21-year-olds care about, beyond classic rock, of course. The younger artists, today's artists, and there's a tremendous effort going on. We just created 6 brand new channels maybe a week ago, just to embrace younger artists. So it's a twofold positive to your response. Yeah.
Wow, that is super insightful. I appreciate the deep dive there. I really do. Bob and Coe, even if you have a memory, you've been to a million concerts. I'm sure you have a million memories. What is the one memory that stands out the most of all the shows you've been to?
Coe, I'm going to let you get this one.
I think from a complete shock value, like wasn't expecting it, an artist that I have loved for so long, I can't even remember, Alan Parsons and Alan Parsons Project. They were at the open air theater, and all of a sudden he's talking about me on the stage, and I'm back doing a broadcast, and this sea of people who came running up, and they're like, "Oh, Alan's talking about you." It was like a tidal wave of people, and I didn't know what was going on, but I was a huge advocate of Higher Ground, that song, but that was just something so out of the blue. But to see the wave of people coming to convey the message, because they didn't know if I could hear, I was like, that was really like, that meant a lot to me. I was like, wow, where did that come from? But moments like that, stuff like that, I don't know about you, Bob, but that was something completely unexpected. Like, where did that come from?
There are so many great moments, and some of them happen as we're sitting, with the audience in front of the stage, and some of the great memories are from backstage. It's just kind of intense and great, and that's the great thing about getting old. You get to meet everybody because you're so damn old.
Yeah.
You mean even stage right? You mean?
Oh, look at that.
Like that?
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe. That's actually, I told you I'd say why I'm on Long Island right now, and it's actually because before I left Long Island for San Diego, I would say, well, I left in 2009, I guess. I left for Los Angeles and San Diego in 2009. But in the early 2000s, I was one of the initial board members of the Long Island Music Hall of Fame. And then I left. And I stopped doing anything, and I'm no longer a board member. But the guys who continued have developed this incredible Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame, and they have a building now and a museum, and it's incredibly impressive. And so they just built the first ever Billy Joel exhibit. And even the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that Billy Joel is a member of never did an exhibit for Billy. They've got, memorabilia, but no exhibit. This is a monster, full scale, closed the Long Island Museum down for a month or two to build it, kind of major deal. And it opens on Long Island this coming Friday, day after Thanksgiving, but we're having a closed party to welcome Billy Joel to see it. And so he asked me to introduce him. So I am here back home, home that's not home, to do that.
That's fantastic. That's really great. It's growing up, I listened to Billy Joel. My sisters were big Billy Joel fans, and then he went through his pop era, and I enjoyed it. And it wasn't until about 3 weeks ago where I was working in the backyard and I had Billy Joel cranked up and I really listened to the lyrics and the feeling, and it hit me like it never had before. He's just incredible, man. I mean, a lot of it resonated with me in my life. But I just want to share that with you. I thought that was pretty great. I saw that picture of Billy Joel, so I had to post that.
Yeah, that was a picture in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Do you remember, Bob, when Billy called into the show and we put him on hold and said we were going to come back to him? And we went back and he wasn't there. And we were like,
I do.
What? Where's Billy Joel? He finally calls back and we're like, Billy, what happened to you? He said, life's too short to hear Twisted Sister on hold.
We were playing.
We lost our mind over that. Remember that?
Yeah. He's like, am I allowed to say bad words on your show, Joe? Or is that
sure? Absolutely.
not appreciated? Okay. Well, so Coe and I are waiting to put him on live. All right, Billy, you'll be on in 60 seconds. And the record's fading out, and it happens to be either Twisted Sister or Quiet Riot, something like that. And he's not there. And so then he calls me on that's the station hotline. Then he calls me on my personal phone and says, "What the fuck are you doing? I don't want to hear." Are you crazy? I'm not listening to that music on hold.
Oh my God.
Now,
we were crying. We were laughing so hard.
It was funny. It was
about what I would expect from him.
If nothing else, he is a regular guy. And that's the beauty of Billy Joel. He's a regular guy. You know what I mean? That's what he is. No different than anybody else.
That was actually my next question here. What is Billy Joel, the entertainer, versus Billy Joel, the personal friend, But you just answered it. You just nailed it.
Yeah, he's really just a regular guy who boats. He boats. He rides motorcycles. He's good. He's a good dad. He's very invested in his kids, old and young, and of course his wife. And yeah, I mean, that's it. Will he ever leave Long Island? He bought a place in Florida. That's actually his place of residence these days, but he's always going to be on Long Island. And, his touring schedule is aggressive. He's coming back to San Diego, I believe, April. I think he's playing with Sting in a one-off at Petco Park.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was looking into that.
That's a double bill.
Don't go to many shows anymore, but that one I might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the collaboration between the two of them.
What happened there?
Oh, look at that. That's just a couple of days ago. Yeah, Sammy's awesome. Sammy's great. Sammy did this thing. The thing about Sirius is because it's nationwide, a lot of artists want to do press conferences there in our TV studio. And so they invite the press in, but it's also on the radio at the same time. And this was Sammy's announcement just following Howard Stern, which he was on earlier, to say, hey, I'm going out and I'm going to do the Sammy Van Halen stuff, which is brilliant because, as the host, Eddie Trunk, said, who's serving this audience? I mean, like this live Van Halen 11 or 12 years. I think it was 11 years. It's gone from the stage. And so who's going to bring it back? Well, Eddie's not around, and, Alex doesn't want to do it. So Michael wants to do it. Sammy wants to do it. And they found a guy. Well, you can't find an Eddie, but,
Right.
Joe Satriani is as close as you're going to find.
Oh, yeah.
To appreciate Eddie. And then Jason Bonham on drums, who plays like his father. Perfect. Because they made the point that, when they were recording the Van Halen albums, Alex Van Halen said, I want the Bonham sound. Through all the albums, that's what he said. And Sammy knew that. He said, Alex wanted the Bonham sound. So when Jason had to go do it, when Sammy had to go do the Van Halen thing himself, which is going to start next year, he said, well, let's get the Bonham sound. How about the kid who sounds just like his father?
So, Bob, are they doing a genuine tour? Are they going out on the road with someone, or is it a standalone, or what is
That's it? It's with Loverboy to open, but it's 30 cities. And Sammy says, if his voice holds out, he'll do more than 30, but he's not committing to more than 30 because he doesn't want to suck, in his own words,
Yeah.
That's admirable.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
he sounds amazing, by the way. Unbelievable.
Good.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun. All you have to do is ask him one question, and he's like Steven Tyler. They're off to the races. You never need to say another word. They're like, they have a lot to talk about.
And well, you, Coe, could spend a lot of quality time with Sammy because you have a business head, and nobody, Sammy is an incredible business genius. So
and
you and he could talk for a long time.
Yeah, he was way ahead of the game. He stuck to it. He, like Buffett, created a lifestyle product, lived the lifestyle, and it parlayed into a huge fortune, He lived it and he loved it, and it succeeded exceedingly well.
Absolutely.
I see here Marty from 91X has chimed in.
Marty.
Checking in.
Hey, Marty.
And Rollback is jumping in with his humor again. That one's a stretch there, Steve. That one's a stretch. So, Bob, that's really all I have. Do you have anything you would like to add, or any fun story, or?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I barely recognize Coe with her clothes on.
Oh.
I miss that. I truly miss that. You know what I also miss in the studio is we would have moments. There was one interview that I won't say the name, but Bob remembers it was the longest run-on sentence interview that we ever had. And there's this look that he and I would give each other where it was our own kind of WTF look. Like, I miss that look where we look at each other like, I don't know what's going on. Like, something's gone crazy. But we just I miss that bond. That's the one thing, people say, how's real estate? Real estate's fine. The market sucks right now, but overall it's fine. But I miss that camaraderie in the studio because you get to experience these very unique situations working with artists and events. And we have this lifelong bond because we experience them together. Like it's ingrained in our head, and they're just things from our past that I look back and I think that was just the best time. Getting up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning, not so much, but everything else was just really magical. It was fun. It was a great time in music, and the station was just rocking. It was great. Things were fun. That Bowie's fun to work with.
Hey, Joe, doesn't Coe Lewis look fabulous?
She looks amazing. It's like
I'm having an allergy attack here. Don't mind me. Oh, thanks, you guys. You're silly, but thank you.
Bob, Coe told me you're a big Batman fan also.
I am a big Batman fan. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And that's awesome. Yes. Thank you for wearing that. Yeah. Gotta say, that's my guy, Batman, Bruce Wayne, all that. Wayne Manor.
I
Yeah.
love
I
it.
love it.
There was a
It's you and
picture
me,
of
buddy.
Bob in the Batmobile in the studio, and anybody who walked in, they had to be ushered over to a picture of him in the real Batmobile.
In
like
the real
everybody.
Batmobile. That's right.
I don't remember ever seeing that, and I'm
Oh,
upset
yeah.
that I never saw
I'll
that.
send you a copy,
Yeah.
Joe.
So anyways, Coe, do you have anything lastly here? What you got going
well-
on? You got anything coming up?
Actually, we just got through Rock the Wild, and it was great. Our second annual for Nasefu Wildlife. That's great. So I'm gonna. Oh, actually, Bob, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if you know it either, Joe. Clint and I are going to team up together for another motorcycle run in early March. So that'll be fun. And we'll have bands playing at the end of it, and it should be a great time. So there.
Oh,
Joe, have
love
you ever
Clint.
seen Coe in a pair of chaps?
Oh, my
That's
God.
awesome.
Oh,
Hey,
Hey,
Bob,
my
what level is that wine at right now?
No, the wine, believe me, the wine has very little to do with it. I'd say it anyway.
I love it.
But
this was my
the
life
wine
with
is-
him in the morning. It was like this all
That's
the
true.
time.
You know, even coffee makes me sound like this. So,
Oh,
I
my
love
God.
it.
it's all good.
But thanks for
you
inviting
know,
me, Joe, to sneak in on Bob's podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me be part of
Of
it.
course, and I'm glad you stuck around the whole time. That really makes me happy. Thank
Oh,
you.
good. Bob's
yeah,
not happy,
me
but
too.
oh well.
Me too. Thank you, Joe,
Yeah.
for putting Coe in as a surprise guest, because that really was a nice thing to do, especially on her big day.
Oh, thanks, you guys. I
Yay.
appreciate it. Yay.
If I could sing, I would sing, but I'm not going to sing because I can't sing.
That's okay.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, same to you. Just gonna shut her down now, and please tell Carrie and Pip happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you,
And
Joe.
I guess we'll catch y'all next week and see who my guest is next week. Again, Bob and Coe, thank you for joining me.
It's our
Thanks,
pleasure.
Joe.
Yes.
Love you, Bob.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Goodbye, New York.